What is this? Video number 4, I think, on the E63 AMG misfire debacle. If you guys aren't up to speed, this is my 2010 E63 AMG with the air compressor. Oh yeah, take your time. I'm not trying to do a homemade show here or anything. Maybe he's saying what you guys are already saying. You already know. This is my 2010 E63 AMG. It's broken. I've been dealing with a misfire for almost a year now. And in the last video, I think we made some potential progress on what could possibly be the problem. Found some kind of irregular wear, or what I think is possibly irregular wear, on the cam adjusters on bank number 1, which is the passenger side bank over here. So I got all those broke apart or torn apart in the last episode, and immediately got online on eBay and started ordering some new parts. So those have since showed up. They're here. So let's get them up on the bench, get them unboxed, and show you what we got. Hopefully we make some headway in this video. We got to. We have to. Alrighty, so here's what we got right off the bat. 2 new to me used cam adjusters. These are both exhaust cam adjusters, if I remember right, what I ordered. AUS for exhaust and AUS upside down for exhaust. 2 different sellers. I'm really interested in what the guts of these things look like, which I'll talk about in a second. Actually, let's talk about it right now, just to review real quick. So if you recall, 2 things I noticed when I took this side apart, bank 1, the area we're getting misfires on last week. I noticed that we've got some weird scoring going on, that dark area right there, on this adjuster cover. A little bit over there on the edges too. I'm pretty sure those 3 rings in there are normal. That's where the basically oil control rings ride, so that's normal, but that dark spot is not, and you can feel that and grab it with your fingernail. So I ordered a new one of these with an added bonus, which we'll talk about in a second. And the adjusters themselves are not terrible, and I really don't see a smoking gun yet, but they do have some weird, like, try to get the lighting right, some like metal on metal wear. Doesn't really seem all that smooth. Like right there on the edge, on the fin. That's actually like a dent almost right there. I didn't notice that before. Same thing on this internal ring here. See down there. Looks almost metal on metal-ish. And I'm wondering if there's like an oil leakage internally that is causing it to not adjust timing correctly, which is causing our misfire. The intake one looks relatively similar. So I ordered 2 used cam adjusters and a cam adjuster cover. You're probably asking, why did I order 2 exhaust ones then? And I'm almost positive, and I guess we will find out, the cam adjusters are all identical. All 4 of them, with the exception of these plates on the back, which are different. Sometimes when guys swap out these back plates, which causes that rattle on startup, if you mix these up, you'll get, huge misfire codes, and the car will not run properly. But the only difference between an intake and an exhaust cam adjuster is this plate on the back, which I'm probably going to discard these ones anyways, because I assume they're the OEM ones, which are usually junk. These are the 6.3 Motorsports upgraded plates. So what I'm really interested in these is those fins, and basically the guts inside. We'll see if maybe we can look what the wear looks like on these on the inside, compare it to my current ones. If they look better, swap the guts from these ones, or basically just make 2 good, awesome cam adjusters. Also got lucky with this thing. Not only do I not see any wear like there was on mine, like I said, those 3 rings are normal, but no scarring like there was on mine. But with the added bonus, and I did this on purpose, this one came with both solenoids and both hall sensors or cam position sensors. I'm going to assume these are good because it came out of a running car and it did say that they were tested. Looks like this one was out of a 09 CL63. But if I was to buy just one of these, which the dealership already replaced, said it didn't fix it, and then they put the old one back in, I think it was the exhaust one. One of these is like $290 something or $200 something. And then I think these sensors are like $30 to $60 each. So if we're to buy all 4 sensors and solenoids from, like, for example, FCP Euro, we're talking like $600-ish just for the sensors, not including this plate. So I found this whole thing, the cam adjuster cover, both solenoids, both sensors in good shape, $150 shipped. Gotta love eBay. So I'd like to get right to work right now. I'm eager to see what the inside of these cam adjusters looks like. So let's bust these things apart and see what those fins look like, compare them to mine, and based on what we find, maybe make 2 good ones, get this thing back together, see if we change anything, see if we can make some progress here. All right, let's get to work. Unfortunately, I'm getting pretty good at taking these things apart. Not that it's all that hard, but let's talk about this. Let's see what we found. Jury is out, you guys, if these are in any better shape than mine. I mean, I actually like the inside of the fins on this one a little bit better. Doesn't seem to have any serious gouging. Same thing with this one, if I remember right. Fins look, I mean, it's hard to tell. This one's like, is that gonna catch, my fingernail gonna catch on that? Yeah, this one has scratches that like almost catch my fingernail. But this surface here almost looks better than mine. And then this, I don't know, I mean, it's hard to say, you guys. I mean, they felt good coming apart, but it's not like they're vastly different from, you know, from mine that I took apart earlier. Like, that looks bad down there, but I mean, it doesn't feel all that bad with a fingernail. So, I don't know. We'll see about these. I wanted to talk about this real quick, too. This is another thing that a lot of you have commented on. This is, some people call it the tone ring. This is basically how you set your timing on the front of the cam adjuster. And these are the oil ports that get to it. And there's 3 rings on here that kind of seal in on that front cam cover that we were talking about. This cam adjuster came with one. This bolt, you guys already know, is one-time use, so that's junk. But just wanted to talk about this. These rings are basically like piston rings. They seal those 3 different channels, or 2 different channels, I guess, in this case, apart from each other, which is why I was concerned about the scratch on my case, because I was afraid that maybe that was allowing some leakage. But sometimes guys will break these rings. Like this one came with a ring that was partially broken, and I broke it all the way, taking it off to show you guys. But normally that ring goes in this 3rd channel right here. So there's 3 rings, and I'll show you on one side here, if I can get to it. Yeah, see how it's like a piston ring? Squeeze it together, they come together, and it's gonna seal on that surface. You're supposed to put these like 180 degrees apart from each other when they go in, but not really sure how important that is, but I do it. I forget what Mercedes calls this. It's like a bushing, but it's really hard to find what the actual part number is, or if you can even get them from the dealer. I'm not sure, but not like this is a part that really goes bad. But, you know, what do you do if one of these breaks? Is this even a part you can get from Mercedes? I don't know. Also, here's the plates. If you guys haven't watched my first video on these M156, this is an issue you guys probably already know about. This is what causes that rattle at startup. Oh. Is this pin that locks this piece together, which is supposed to be locked, you know, during certain times of operation, including engine startup, basically builds a ramp up here and allows it to kind of come in and out, which causes that rattle until oil pressure builds up in here and fills up those cavities and then stops the rattle, and then usually the car runs fine. But if you let it get too bad, you're going to have timing issues, which is why people like myself, you know, replace them with the 63 Motorsports plates, which I have over here. Over here, I did the easy part and already swapped out my cam cover plate. This one has no damage, like I said, as far as I can see. And for different solenoids and sensors, I mean, they should be good, but who knows? I don't really think that mine were bad, but I guess we'll find out. We're gonna replace 5 things at once right here. Hello! So yeah, this is all set to go. I also cleaned the solenoids just while it was right out in front of me, so we should be good on here. So now what? Still no real smoking gun, but I like that the plate or cover, cam adjuster cover that I put in doesn't have that big gouge in it. I think what I'm gonna do is take the best parts that I can find out of all 4 of these cam adjusters, including the 63 Motorsports back plates and front covers, find the best fins, find the best inner plate there, and put them together and just put them in the car and see what happens. Just take the best parts and see what's going on. But seeing 2 other cam adjusters that I bought that were advertised as tested and good, that looked this similar to mine, maybe my theory was just that, a theory. Maybe we're leaning more towards, you know, that gouge could have caused our issue. Or maybe it's one of the sensors or solenoids, probably not. Or maybe it's something totally different, I don't know. But 150 bucks for the new one of these. I think the cam adjusters were 200 bucks each, so we're about $550 into this, which may seem like a lot, but a brand new cam adjuster, each from the dealer, is like $900. And if that's not our problem, that would suck. So trying to not, you know, do the parts cannon thing, trying to diagnose a little bit, see if we can swap some parts and see what happens, test my theory here. But yeah, let's get back to work. Let's make hopefully 2 good cam adjusters, 1 intake, 1 exhaust, get them back on that bank. morning. It is a couple days later. As you can see, as usual, some other projects got in the way of getting this thing started up, but got it all back together the other night. Got 2 exhaust and intake cam adjusters put back together. Ended up using the 5-star fin thing and outer ring that goes with that are paired together from the adjusters I got on eBay. Put those in with the guts or with the outer plate and other stuff from, you know what, I'll just show you in a second. It's hard to explain, but got some cam adjusters back together, valve cover back on, my new cam cover back on, all electronics hooked back up, coils, yada, yada, yada. On the truck side, my Super Duty got the winter tires or the stock wheels back on. I'm just giving the American Fosses quick polish, so I gotta clean all this up. Gotta get my snowmobile out of my truck, gotta do some other stuff around here, and then we're gonna start this thing, see if we change anything. But let me show you on the bench what I actually did. It'll make more sense. Okay, we'll go the other way. So here's the parts that are left, and basically this is what I swapped out. So these are from my original cam adjuster. The fin thing itself and the outer ring. So I swapped these 2 parts from both the eBay cam adjusters into my other one. So I used my 63 Motorsports back plates, my 63 Motorsports front skeleton cover, whatever this gear thing is, and obviously my titanium hardware and the 63 Motorsports spring and pin. So these 2 parts are what I swapped out. So yeah, I got a couple things to take care of, and then we'll fire this thing up. See what's next, or if we're done here. Don't have terribly high hopes because I still don't see a real smoking gun yet, but hey, we're making progress. Alright, well, nothing new here. Motor sounds as healthy as ever. With our new cam cover, 2 new solenoids, 2 new sensors, quote-unquote revamped cam adjusters. Got a little bit of oil burning off the headers. That's normal when you take the valve cover off. Some of it goes on the headers. Got horsepower tuners hooked up. Yeah, all good here, but nothing new. So let's let this thing warm up a little bit. See what happens. All right. Car's warmed up, kind of. What are we at? Coolant temp. 147. So let's watch the misfires here. See what happens. Damn it! Now we're getting misfires everywhere, though.
What the f is going on here?
I feel like I've been sitting in this driver's seat for a year. Because I pretty much have. Just revving this stupid car to 1500 RPMs, watching it fall on its face, and then talking to you guys like a big dumb idiot. I guess I shouldn't act surprised because, like I said, the cam adjusters was kind of a theory, and especially getting 2 other, good used ones that looked the same or worse than my current ones didn't make me feel that great either, but now I don't know. The misfires are still primarily on the first bank, but like, why did I get 55 and 43 on 6 and 7? All right, well, I think the next place that I'm gonna start looking is wiring and or ECU. A bunch of you guys have said ECU, but I feel like you're guessing, I know that the ECUs on these cars can be problematic, but why Why would it only be when the car gets warm? I mean, I know electronics can fail when they're warm, but it's not like the ECU should be getting that hot. I don't know. Nobody has said, oh, it's the ECU because of this. Like, I'm really trying not to throw parts at this car. So I'm gonna do some due diligence right now. I'm gonna go, there's a few places you can double check the grounds on the W212 chassis. I'm gonna make sure my grounds are nice and clean. Maybe pull the ECU, take the case off and see if we can see anything inside the ECU that's burned. If we don't, you know, maybe I send the ECU out to get tested. I don't know what else this could be at this point. I don't know if it's in the cam adjusters or not. I'm gonna review the data, try and take a step back, check a bunch of the basics again, and I'll get back with you guys. But I'll be damned if this isn't frustrating. I miss this car. I just want to drive it. Let's start it up and rev it. Maybe that'll fix it. Sure does sound good. Are we fixed? Are we fixed? Nope. Everything's fine. Whoops. Really getting on my nerves. Look what you made me do. Got it off. Hey Google, play Break Stuff by Limp Bizkit. Well, if it isn't obvious by the additional ventilation that I put in my cabinet over there, don't tell my wife, she hasn't noticed yet. Don't worry, I repaired it so you can barely notice. But yeah, a few weeks ago, last time you guys saw me, I was getting a little frustrated with my E63 AMG. which is, I guess, is understandable because it's been broken for, we are coming up on a year now since I've driven this thing, other than down the road. Reason for the cabinet ventilation is, as I mentioned, I was going to check all of the grounds on this car. First one was here in the wheel well, and this wheel that has been on the car for over a year now was stuck, and there's not a lot of room here for me to do the old mule kick, and really was getting on my nerves. So when I did finally get it off after it cut my finger and a bunch of hits with the dead blow, which, by the way, marks from dead blow come right off. Don't hit your AMG wheels with a hammer unless they're like mine and they're completely trashed with corrosion and curbed by the previous owner or previous owners, and just overall in pretty bad shape, and you don't care about them, then yeah, then it's fine. But yeah, let out some frustration on the cabinet, unfortunately. Lost my cool, you know? It happens once in a while, but better the cabinet than, you know, the car or something, right? Anyways, there was a ground under here that I got cleaned up. Let's see, then came over here. There's a ground on each head. I think these are for the coils down here. Then there's a big one right here that I cleaned up. Then there's a main body one right here. And then most importantly, this one right here in the passenger side wheel well. This one was really kind of corroded. So cleaned that up, cleaned all of them up, used a wire wheel, got everything surgically clean, got all the grounds back on, put the battery back, you know, hooked back up, started up the car. You guessed it, same exact thing. Which is unfortunate because I really had high hopes for this one down here that was really corroded, but didn't do anything. So at that point I said, screw this. I'm gonna listen to some of the comments that say, dude, it's your ECU, they're problematic. Removed the ECU from the car, which goes right there in the passenger wheel well, and decided to send it out for testing. I sent it to a company called ECU Pros. They had it in just a couple days and had it tested just a couple days later. Not sponsored, spent my own money to send this thing out and get it tested. It was pretty reasonable, I think at like 150 bucks. I don't know exactly what testing they did, but they did visually inspect it. They put it on a different car. It wasn't an M156 car, but a different Mercedes, and sent me a video of it running. And said that they revved it, didn't have any trouble codes, got the car up to temperature, and just basically overall couldn't find any issues with the ECU. There was one thing that they couldn't check. I'll have to put up like a screenshot of the email or something, some driver or something that they said if it was the problem, they wouldn't be able to repair it anyways. But they said they were pretty sure the ECU is not the problem. They also said that for $250, they can send me a test ECU that is known good, program it to my car, and I can install it to be like 110% sure that the ECU is not the problem. Unfortunately, they said that's coming from the UK, so it's gonna be a week or two, and I said, I'm dead in the water with this thing. It's been on the lift for almost a month now. I need my ECU back so I can keep testing. So just got it back today, so we are back to testing here. In the meantime, as you guys saw in the B-roll, I went through, found some wiring diagrams for free online for this specific chassis, this specific motor, and I traced everything back to the ECU, starting with the cam solenoids over here, the cam position sensors, the coil packs, the injectors. I did all the cam solenoids and sensors over here. I did the O2 sensors, and basically what I did was put one end on the sensor, one end on the wire that it corresponded to in the main engine harness plug here with a little paper clip you can see is still there, and just made sure not only that we had continuity, but that we had a reasonable amount of resistance as well, which I recorded here. So bank one is this bank over here. You can see that I checked solenoids, cam position sensors. This circuit was the coils. I put the circuit numbers there. The check meant that I had continuity with the little beep from this thing, and then there's your resistance reading in ohms. Everything was really consistent across the board. Did the same thing on the driver's side. I didn't write it down, but same thing on the O2 sensors. So basically just did what I could to check that our wiring, or our main engine wiring harness didn't have any issues. What I was looking for is a high, either no continuity or like a high resistance situation, or a resistance situation where I jiggled the wire and it changed drastically, indicating a loose connection or something. I didn't see any of that. It seems like all of our connections from the sensors, injectors, coils, all that is good to the ECU. So once again, I don't see a smoking gun. I don't know what the problem is here. So my plan right now is, I assume that when they tested this thing, to test it in another car, they had to wipe the factory tune on it, put it in that other car, and then had to put a factory 2010 or my original tune back in to send it back to me. I don't know, let's put this thing back in, see if anything changed. Probably not, but let's do that first, get this all back together. Got to get all my wires hooked back up, get the air boxes back on, get the ECU back in and secure in the wheel well, get the wheel back on, and then I've got a couple other things I'd like to try. But the car has to be running, or at least able to run to do so. So let's get this back in, get the car back together, and see where we're at. Well, mileage is the same, so I guess that's a good sign. I don't know. Nothing new here. Let's let it warm up. Alright, well here's one thing I don't think I've shown on camera yet, but I have told you guys about. Unplug any of the cam solenoid sensors, and our misfire should be cured. I'll show you. Bank 1, cam solenoid unplugged. I don't even know which one that is. Does not matter. Alright, so as we know, get to about 1500 RPMs, we should see misfires all over the board. And here's our cams, which appear to still be moving slightly. But yeah, let's rev it up. We would be getting misfires right now. We have one from cylinder 1 from earlier. Car would have shut down, gone into limp mode by now. But it's running perfect. 0 misfires. Nothing. Riddle me that. Unplug a cam solenoid, the car runs perfect. And then if we look at the log, this is the one I just took. with the cam solenoid still plugged in, we rev it up. Where do we start? Yeah, we start seeing misfires right about here. But look, cams are all locked. Cams are all doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing. I mean, at least according to the software. So what the frig is up here? Still exactly where I was 1 year ago. And it's friggin' freezing out. So, I don't know, guys. This, if you can't already tell, this is getting to me. This is pretty annoying. But here's what I'm going to do next. First of all, this car has not had an oil change in well over a year. I think it was like August or September of 2023. So I'm going to change the oil, not just because, you know, the oil probably needs to be changed, but E63 Motorsports, my buddies over there sent me this oil fill cap about a year ago. So when we change the oil filter, we can get this on there. And more importantly is what's in the box and on top here. Yep, oil pressure gauge. So we can pop that right in there. And then we can check our oil pressure. If we go back to my theory number 37, that this is, you know, runs okay when it's cold and then the oil gets warm, you know, something to do with the variable valve timing here. We can check to see what our oil pressure is and see if it's within spec or doing anything weird. So get the oil change, see that we have good oil pressure. Sound good. Even a cold start right there. Good oil pressure. 65 pounds, 70 pounds, a cold start. What is this now? Coolant temp sensor. Car is off. We're about to take off. What's going on here? Oh, this my heated seat still works. Another episode come and gone, and the Mercedes is still broken. I don't even know if we made any progress. It almost feels like we've gone backwards. Now the fan is just running at Mach 17. Fan still chugging away. I don't know, guys. Got the oil changed. Oil pressure looks good. And then the car, I finally got the E63 diagnostic back out here with that laptop, and the car did a cam position relearn, and the car threw a coolant temp sensor code, which I've never seen before. And obviously that could cause misfires or all sorts of other engine issues because, you know, if the car doesn't know what temperature it's at or what the coolant temp is, then it can't, you know, adequately provide the correct fuel mixture. But I haven't seen that code yet before, and at least what I've been seeing in the logging software has shown me that there's no issue with the coolant temp sensor until right now. So I'm really not hopeful that that's our issue. And I was just gonna drive the car. My plan for the end of this video was to unplug the cam position sensor and just drive the car for the next week or two and see what happens. The car drives, I did this almost a year ago, the car drives fine with the cam position sensor unplugged. And I have scoured the internet. Every single thread related to a misfire on the M156, I've probably read it. And until last week, I found one where a guy, it seems like, had the exact same issue as me. He was like 11 grand into this thing, replacing coils, replacing the engine harness, replacing wires, and the car was still misfiring. The thread didn't have a response or didn't have a solution, so I figured I'd check the guy's profile, and what do you know, he was active like an hour and a half before. Quick side note, if you guys like make a post on Facebook or in a forum and you figure out your problem and then don't go back and tell the rest of the world what fixed it, you are the worst. Imagine someone like me, you have someone that 10 years ago had the exact same issue as you, and then you figure it out and you don't update them. Come on, you're leaving us out to dry. So yeah, if you guys are figuring out an issue after you ask for help on the internet to help diagnose said issue, make sure you go back and post what happened and how you fixed it so that the next guy that comes along, you know, knows how to fix their car. But anyways, I messaged the guy and I was like, how did you fix this thing? What did you get it fixed? What happened? The post was like 3 years old. He's like, well, I don't really know. He said, I ended up just unplugging the cam position sensors and driving the car for like a year. And then I randomly plugged them in back in one day and the car was fixed. He's like, I never really looked into it past that. So that's kind of where I'm at. I ordered a coolant temp sensor, just a cheap one on Rock Auto. It'll be here in a few days, so I can at least get the fan to stop running 100% all the time. We definitely don't want that. And then I think I'm just going to unplug the cam position sensors and drive this thing. Otherwise, I'm going to put a brick on the accelerator until it windows the block, and then I'm pushing it into the Atlantic Ocean. Maybe that'll be the next video. I don't know. It's snowing out. I want to work on the Trans Am, do some fun stuff to that, because that doesn't misfire. And yeah, let's wrap this one up. Thank you guys for suffering through another Mercedes video with me. Catch you in the next one. Will I ever figure this thing out?